So, welcome, Leslie and Jill. It's lovely to see two people in one room. Fascinating subject, and I'm going to pass you over to get going. So, thank you very much.
Hi, nice to meet you all. My name's Letty Masterson, and I'm the current owner of LaStone Therapy. I trained in Stone back in 2000 and took over the company in 2012. I've been around stones and have been part of my therapy life for many years. For me, when I found the stones, it was like finding the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle. It sort of made everything else fit. And I use it in every. I used it. I don't do therapies anymore because I'm. And but I used it in every therapy I did, and also my daily life. They're around my home. They're in my fridge. They're by my bed. They become part of your life. They're part of my kids' lives, my grandchildren's lives. They sort of get very addictive. So be warned. Um, Jill is our lead instructor. So when we get to the part about the stone soul treatment, the reflexology treatment we do, Jill will be going into that into great detail. But I'm just going to talk about stone therapy, its history, and our ethos really, and the core principles that sort of are the bedrock of our company. Now, obviously, stones and the use of stones has been going around a lot longer than stone massage or stone reflexology. It's been going through civilizations for many, many thousands of years. The stone therapy, its grounding is in Native American because that's where Mary Nelson, the founder, come from. She come from Arizona, and Native Americans have been using stones within their ceremonies for forever. So that was her knowledge of how stones were used in the past. Ours tend to be more the Celtic area. So we have standing stones, healing stones, places obviously like God, Stonehenge, Stonehenge, and the many other standing stones around the country. Places like Priscilla in Wales, where people have been going to for thousands of years for the healing benefits of the Priscilla stone, which is actually the stone used in the stones in Stonehenge. What sort of struck me the other day, and it's something that I sort of knew, but it sort of resonated more when I was thinking about what we was going to talk about today, is that every expression of hot stones or stone therapy has originated in the modern massage world from where Mary picked up a hot stone in a spa in Arizona in 1993 and found that what it did was it took the work out of the massages that she did. So originally it was by a therapist to ease the aches and strains that giving a therapy caused. But because Mary had been trained in uh, by in a type of therapy called Knipe. He was a German doctor, which used temperature, hot and cold, to heal the body. She understood what hot and cold did. She was a sports therapist. So she then transferred the healing of the temperature to the stones. And we have always been about temperature. Our bedrock is that the message that we are delivering to the body is temperature, either heated, which is hotter than we are, or cold, which is colder than we are. And it is that alternating temperature that then creates a healing response within the body. So that's the message we are giving to the body. The messenger we use are the stone family. And that can be basalt and marble, which is the original stones that we used, but has, gone over many, many more stones from then on. Jade, Shiva lingams, and obviously the crystal family. So over the last 30 odd years that we've been going, we have researched not only what stones we use, but why we use them. So we don't just use a stone because it's pretty. We want to know what that effect of the stone has on the body, what its healing response is, whether it be a physical response or a more spiritual and emotional response, like when we're talking about the crystal family stones that we're bringing in. We tend, well, not tend, we do use natural basalt stones as opposed to the carved basalt stones. And the reason we do that is because the carved stones come from a different type of basalt. And if you do any of our courses, we go into that into greater detail. But they come from blocks of basalt, like blocks of marble, and they are then manufactured and carved. And that's why they have those regimented shapes in a box. Whereas the stones we use are literally picked from beaches, rivers, places like that. And then we put them together into sets. We pair them up. We find their buddies and we pair them up, and we make our sets. They also, because they are natural, have different mineral contents in them. So this red one has got a lot more iron content in it than this grey one has. So you are, by using those stones, you are also getting a minute transfer of minerals from the stones into the body, sort of like a homeopathic transfer of minerals. So you get a much more energetic treatment when you use a natural stone than when you use a carved stone.
Okay. They feel a lot different,
Oh,
don't they?
yeah.
I don't know if you've ever held a carved stone over the natural ones, but the carved ones don't feel like they've got any soul, but you can feel the energy from the natural ones. They feel flat as opposed to full and abundant. You can really feel the energy
You feel the difference
that's trapped in the stone coming through. And of course, with the heat, when we apply heat to those stones, that just amplifies it and helps with the delivery of what it's going to give to the body to help promote the healing response.
Stones are very powerful, and as much as they don't just do that physical thing, they do also do a very mental and spiritual thing as well. The Native American Indians call them they're the holders of history. They have been around so many years, they've seen everything, they've done everything, that when you bring them to a treatment, they know exactly what to bring to the treatment to make that person heal. And a lot of our physical ailments are caused through stress and perhaps more of a mental state as well. So it is that combination of stone and energy and the heat that brings that healing response to the treatments that we give. Obviously, basalt is only half of the partnership. The original partnership, Mary used to use ice. She used to use the stones for heat and then ice to use for cold. The problem with ice is that ice, when used too much, has a detrimental effect to the body as opposed to a healing effect, because you can chill the body too much and you actually start killing off the surrounding tissue. So, and anybody that's a sports therapist knows that there's an ultimate, isn't there? There's a like the magic time when you actually, that's done enough. Now it has to be taken off, because what cold will do is just keep pulling more and more ice, will keep pulling more and more heat out the body, and then the body just hasn't got any more to give. Whereas marble, we have a nice piece of marble here, when that's applied to the body, it pulls heat out of the body and then will become the same heat as the body. So there's that osmosis effect that, one will make the other one the same. So it will pour out as much temperature as needed from the body, and then it will stop. So it is a much safer way to apply cold to the body. Did you want to talk about the cold bit?
Yeah, I think
cold's more. Jill's more cold person than me.
Oh, I love the cold. I love the cold. Yeah, I think it's the Lewis. I can't remember his second name, but there's it's down to like when the cold will contract, won't it, within the body. So all your veins and arteries and all that, they're kind of like a muscle. So we've got it nice and hot, and then we'll get the cold on and it'll pull. So we can pull the inflammation and we can get things moving, we can open the flow. The stone will get stuck if it hits a blockage, and we just wait for the body to respond. So it's not about ploughing through. So many applications of the stone can be like, we get on and we're going to really work it. But what we'll do is we'll use the temperature just nice and gently to create this pulsing to get the body moving, and then the healing will come. So the body,
vascular
gymnastics. Yeah. So what can happen if we put too much cold on the body? It's a bit like if you go out on a cold winter's day and your hands are nice and warm, and then the cold comes in and your hands get cold. And then after a while, the fire comes, so they get hot. And that's pretty much where the blood vessels have held on tight, and then they've gone, I'm knackered now. So the blood comes. So actually we can't do any more with the cold, because the body said, I'm done. So we just get that burning sensation. So we'll teach you how to work within safe parameters with the heat and the cold to actually get the body to respond in a positive way. And we teach what temperature, because you've got the high end of the temperature and the very low, but what not everybody can take that full hit like a healthy adult can. You know, sometimes, you know, depending on age and conditions within the body, we'll need to adapt so that we make it more of a prescriptive treatment, so we know what temperature the stones are that we apply to the body and that it's safe to do so. Does that make sense? I get a bit excited about it.
So as I said, we have looked at all the stones that we use, and I have wasted a lot of money on the wrong stones, I can tell you. But when you find a stone that works and it does the job that you want it to do, it is sort of quite magic, really. It's a little bit, I suppose, in a way, like aromatherapy. You know, there's certain oils that are good for certain ailments, and we've got certain stones that are good as well. And I'm going to tip my screen down a little bit so you can actually see the stones that we use for our StoneSole. Now, when we always used to use basalt and marble on the feet, and you still can. There is no reason why you can't just use basalt and marble on the feet within a stone treatment. But we have discovered in the last few years the benefits of using jade, both physically and spiritually. And jade seems to lend itself so beautifully to a reflexology treatment. Jade has the ability, when used in a certain way, to emit natural infrared. So it is brilliant when you use it in massage. It brings in that extra healing property, and it also is green, which brings in the spiritual side of it for the heart chakra. So it sort of covers all bases, really. And it can be used hot and cold as well. So it has a high iron content, which makes it good to hold and release heat. But it also seems to hold and absorb cold very well, and delivers cold very well as well. So it can be a very adaptable stone. And in this day and age where we are very conscious about what we need to spend on our therapies, we try to have the stones that can do as many jobs as possible, so that what you have in your toolbox can more or less cover everything you want it to. So I'm just gonna tip the screen down, so hopefully you can see now the stones that we use. If you have basalt stones, within our StoneSole treatment, we do use basalt to warm the feet and the legs. But most of the work that we do is in our current StoneSole treatment is with the jade. And this can be from the massage stones, which we use both to warm the feet and the legs up with, but also we use this to work reflexes. And we have our cylinders, we have wands, spheres, mushrooms. We have a nice bigger mushroom here, which this is brilliant for working around the back of the hip and ankle area. It's amazing. We have some smaller jade stones which we use for stretching out the spine, both the vertebrae and the erectospinae muscle. And that is just lovely to experience, but also frees up the back so beautifully. And then we have our Shiva lingams. Now, I don't know if any of you have come across Shiva lingams. Shivas come from a river in India called the Namara River in India, where many millions of years ago a meteorite landed, and the stone from the meteorite with the local stone created this special quartz stone that is sort of egg shaped. You probably recognize it from Indiana Jones. They were the stones that he carried around in his little bag with but his were bigger. This is a little small one. I've got one that's about 2 foot big, weighs about, oh God, I don't know. I can just about pick it up. But they range from very small to some 6 foot tall. So we use them in placement, hand stones, neck stones, but we also use them because they have a very high quartz content for tapping, for PTO work. So we use those on the feet. We use small ones because we're working on a small area of the foot. And then we've got our crystal family, which we bring in, and we use amethyst on the feet, and we use that for some linking. I don't know if any of you have done linking. It's a really gentle but very profound treatment to do on the feet, where you're linking areas. A lot of the time, endocrine, isn't it?
Yeah, just clear
endocrine,
blockages.
but yeah, or perhaps neck and coccyx to free the spine. And then we have some clear quartz, which we use for our chilled work to flush out lymphatic system, sinuses, things like that.
And what's great is with this kit, regardless of what, shall I lift this up?
Yeah.
Sorry. With all that, regardless of what you've actually been trained in from a reflexology perspective, whilst we'll show you a routine, you'll have the skills on how to then adapt stones to your given specialist technique. So, for instance, if you've done the lymphatic drainage, or if you've done like pregnancy, like maternity, so whatever your speciality skill set is, you'll be able to transfer your stone skills to work the reflexes with these to your own way of working, shall we say.
Which is really sort of how all of our treatments work, isn't it? The massage,
Yeah.
you know, our facial treatments, everything is that we show you the skills of how to use the stones. Yes, we give you a sequence, but we also give you the freedom to actually then make it your own. One of our therapists many years ago said, it's like we give the outline of a drawing, like a paint by numbers, and then you put the colours in yourself, which I thought was actually really quite a nice way of looking at it. But you have to have, like with any therapy, you have to have those strong foundations in what you're doing. Ours will be temperature, which is like what temperature does to the body, what heat does to the body when it's applied, and this is with the feet as well as the body, because if you can think of relaxing the reflex points in the feet by using the nurturing heat of the stones, you're then transferring that to the corresponding part of the body, the same as you would do with your fingers and your thumbs. And in the same way, you're also accessing the chilled part of the treatment. So where you have got an inflammatory problem, say polycystic ovaries, for instance, you can actually apply chilled stones to that area, and you are stimulating that that reflex to be the anti-inflammatory effect of the cold on that reflex to affect that area of the body as well. So it actually, to our experience, it actually amplifies and it makes the treatment even more profound than it is normally.
I mean, one of the common questions is people say, oh, I use my fingers and thumbs so much, am I going to feel anything? So they feel like because they're using a stone that they're going to be a little bit detached, and they feel very reliant upon what their heart energy and their fingers and hands are telling them. But you are still connected, and it's like the stone resonates back to you louder than what your thumbs pick up. You know, we all can sort of like get on a shoulder reflex, and you feel it, and you can feel it's a bit crunchy. But as soon as you get the stone on there and just even gently move it, you actually pick up more crystals, more congestion in the area, and allowing you to sort of free it up a little bit deeper, so you can get the heat on and move it out, and then you can just flush it through with some cold. So we can sort of, we'll teach you how to balance that out and work on it. And the last thing we need you to do is go in and check with your fingers, because we want the body to go, all right, you've told me what you want me to do, now let me do it. So it's actually our own ego that's going back in to say, have I done that all right? I need to just have a feel. But by going back in and having another feel, we've put more temperature in, because we've got the temperature we want, and now we're putting our body temperature back on it and reducing the impact of the work we've just done. So it's quite interesting. It's quite fun working through those bits, because when we're learning, we do go back in and feel to see what stone has shifted.
Yeah.
But you will feel the imbalances. It's not something to worry about. It's quite surprising.
Places that you haven't felt them before. Like if you're working the heel pad, it is incredibly difficult to feel anything there, because you have to press so hard to get through that padded area to actually feel what's going on. But you get a stone there and you go, oh my God, I didn't realise it felt like that, because it just allows you that extra depth of of involvement, I think. And obviously, I mean, I became a therapist back in 1994, and did a lot of reflexology, same as you know, we all did with our fingers, our thumbs. After a while, your elbow starts really playing up a little bit, and then it's your shoulder, and all my thumb joint is going a little bit iffy. And where the stones took the pressure from a massage therapist out of the equation a little bit by using the heat and the weight of the stone. So the stones do that to a reflexologist. So it reduces greatly the risk of RSI. So it allows you to work longer. They say, don't you, you work smarter, not harder. So the stones allow you to work smarter and not so hard.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a busy therapist for the last 30 years, and they quite often say, I think the life of a therapist can be as little as like 8 to 10 years, I think I've read. But I think if you're smart about how you use your body, you really can have a nice long career in this industry. You know, I'm a full-time therapist working 5 days, 5 full days. And obviously,
Yeah.
teaching what I do.
And also we really encourage people to use the stones on themselves as well. You know, you use the stone. We've actually got an online hand and arm treatment, which originally I suppose was well, we did a course in
Was Marlow,
in
wasn't it?
Marlow,
Yeah.
and about 3 or 4 of the therapists all had real bad problems with their wrists and arms, didn't they? So Jill took them to one side and actually taught them how to free up their wrists and their arms using the stones themselves. So we then realised how many therapists out there weren't using the skills that they had on other people, on themselves. So we wrote a course which actually it does a combination. It shows you how to use stones on your clients, but it also shows you how you can use it on yourself, because we have to take care of ourselves. You know, Native American Indians say you need to feed yourself first before you can feed others. So there's always this, you know, you need that strength first before you can then do what you need to do in your work. So yeah.
So we make it like a full body experience. So we'll give you I don't know, for your clients, for instance, you'll have some hand stones, and we've got like a grandfather stone,
Sits on the
belly, and you've got that lovely triangle going on. We can even have some stones that we put behind the neck. So if it's a hot summer's day, we can have these nice and chilled, keeping you nice.
Great for text necks as well.
Yeah.
People suffer from text necks where they've constantly got their head down on their phone. So when you've got that problem with the back of the neck, there's nothing nicer than 2 cool stones just round the back of the neck, just underneath the occipital bone. Perfect. Yeah.
And then we've got all the crystals that we can just bring in to help sort of bring some nice balance through the body. So in just our reflexology treatment, we can make it a full body experience for your clients. And it doesn't matter whether you're on a lafuma or a couch, all of this will work together.
You can adapt
it quite easily.
When I first learned stone therapy, Stone Soul, which was from an American lady called Adele, who looked a little bit like Oprah Winfrey. She's very, very, very sort of
very flamboyant.
But yeah, very flamboyant. And it was a full body experience. It was literally you laid when we do our massage treatment, we lay our clients on a spinal layout, so they lay on stones, have stones laid upon them, and we did the soles of the feet while the client was laying supine, face up. oh no, sorry. So did the front of the feet, what's the front of the foot called? What's the front of the foot called?
Which is at the top.
Yeah, the top of the foot.
Dorsal.
Yes, yeah.
Dorsal side.
Dorsal. So we did that while you're facing up, then you turn the client over, and then you did the soles of the feet, but you also included the hands and the ears as well. So it made it a really big, long treatment, which was lovely, but it included lots of stones, lots of expense. It was a 3-day course, and it didn't really bring much to the reflexology treatment. It didn't actually add a great deal to the actual reflexology treatment itself. So we then did away with the flipping over backwards and forwards, and found that actually quite a lot of reflexologists like their clients slightly sitting up so that they can see the reaction. They like that interaction. So we turned it into a 1-day course where you just work on the feet. Now, obviously, you've got those skills if you've done hand reflexology, if you've done ear reflexology, you can transfer those skills using the temperature and stones if you want to. But it made it much more affordable, both in the cost of the course, but also when you're on a 3-day course, you're also not working another 2 days as well. So you've got to put that into account. You've got travel expenses, you've perhaps got hotel expenses that you have to put in as well. So this time, I think the therapists now are not the same as when I started all those years ago. It has become much more money conscious, much more getting value for money for what you are teaching, for what you're being taught, and how you can make that pay within your current treatment. So we always give the cost of the treatment, the cost of the stones, how many treatments you would need to do to recover that. Because once you've got the stones, that's it. They're not going to wear out unless you've got some pretty crystals and you drop them on the floor, things like that, replace the odd 1 or 2. But I think it's always imperative to know how viable that treatment is for you and what you're going to do.
This is the business side of it, isn't it, Leslie?
Yes, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
this is
And we
something
are
that
business people, and that's what we like to go a bit airy-fairy and go, yes, we love treating people and healing them and whatever. But at the end of the day, we run a business.
And I think that's the thing that people struggle with. I mean, we see lots of people, especially with their CPD, they're going off and, investing a lot of time and effort in all sorts of modalities that actually they don't really enjoy doing necessarily, and their clients don't really want. And this sounds perfect for what you've already got, and you're just enhancing the experience, and that I think is so much more valuable. Yeah.
Definitely.
And no products, so your stones are your products, so you don't have to cost
Absolutely. All you need is some oil. That is the only. Obviously, you need a heater. We always heat our stones up in water, and we are very hot on using professional equipment for professional treatments. Do not use kitchen equipment to give a treatment. It cheapens both you and the treatments that you give. So we are very, yeah.
I've even done an experiment, because some people say, oh yeah, I put them in my hot towel cabinet. So, it's the quartet, or people will take them out and they'll say, yeah, I dip them in cold water so they're the right temperature. Well, the problem with that is we don't know the core temperature of the stone. So we could be using it and suddenly that heat will just kick out, so that it's not a regulated temperature. But if you've got professional equipment, and we always recommend like a meat thermometer, for instance, for checking the temperature of the water, because sometimes the thermometers on your equipment can go wrong. So it will just give you a quick check, and you'll know when you pull your stones out, you think, oh, they're not really holding true to temperature. So we've got a double check in place. And it's the same with the cold. We always measure, don't we, the coolness of the stones. And oh yeah, it's over there. So we use these quite a lot on the courses, because we'll measure how much temperature a cold stone has pulled out of the body. So we can measure it before it hits the body, and we can measure it afterwards to see what it is we've pulled out, and what our temperature of stone is. I mean, I think the bags are quite good for certain situations. They can be quite tricky to work with, but on the courses we can show you how to actually manage your stones.
They don't heat the stone. The most efficient way to heat up stones is through water, because once you know the temperature of the water, and the stones have been in there long enough, that will be the temperature of the stones. With the bags, they're sitting on one side of a heat element. So they're only getting heat from one side, it's not an envelope of heat. So one side may well be a lot hotter than the other. And if you went into the bag, and you picked up the stone like that, what you're feeling may not necessarily be what you're putting on your client. So you have to be aware that obviously it's doable, but you have to be aware of those situations.
I mean, we've even
well.
done an experiment, haven't we, where we've massaged with the stones without flipping them, to keep the continuity of the temperature, and the results were actually quite shocking, weren't they? Because without actually working the stones in the right way, you can then potentially cause some light burning, which was quite shocking, wasn't it, when we tried that out. But we teach you the highest levels of sanitation, the safe and appropriate measures to use, what you use to clean your stones, how to look after them, not only physically on what to look for in your stones to make sure that your stones are not going to damage your client, how to keep them beautifully clean. We've been in many a spa, haven't we, where you could just run your nail across the stone and it's just full of
like a Waterstones carpet,
and you're just pulling the oil off. And of course, when you've got that, you've also got millions of dead skin cells wrapped in that as well. And one of the problems is that some places will teach you that you need to oil your stones when you wash them every day, because the stone needs this. No, the stone has been out for thousands, millions of years in the elements. It's quite happy to be knocked about a bit and scrubbed. And
it doesn't need chameleon oil to keep it
happy. So we'll teach you how to look after your stones so that they're safe for you, safe for your clients, kept nice and clean. We reviewed all of our hygiene standards with COVID. I know this is a word that haunts us, but we didn't have to change one thing, not one thing. So we knew that our standards were good and in place.
And we also, the way we sanitize our stones, we have had to do, because we've taught in many very, very busy spas all over the world, where you can't throw away the water, wash your stones, put your stones back in the water, fill up the water, heat all the stones up. That doesn't happen, because you've got 10 minutes to get one client out, one client in. So what you need to do is have your stones in a situation where they are being constantly sanitized throughout the day. And the best thing for that is chlorine. And although people go, oh, don't like using a chemical, chemical's not natural. Sorry, chlorine actually is a natural substance. It's not a man-made chemical, and it is the thing that will kill most bacteria and viruses within seconds and definitely a minute. So knowing the right parts per million that you need to put in the water that you use will satisfy any health and safety guy that you have come round. And you say, I use this because if I put 2 of these in this amount of water, it gives me the right parts per million to know that I will kill bacteria and viruses up to, and we say E. coli,
Yeah.
COVID, MRSA, and things like HIV need a little bit more. But if that only tends to come into play if you're using stones, and we do teach it for things like waxing, where you've got blood loss.
Hopefully our therapists won't come across much blood loss.
No. No, but if they, you know, a lot of reflexologists are also estheticians.
True.
So using the cold stones, we don't, just because we teach you to use it on the feet doesn't mean to say that you're not then qualified to use it on any other part of the body as well. So and you can use it on yourself, you know. So yeah, it's good for taking away any type of inflammation.
So big question then is, how can we get involved with this training? You know, if people are watching this going, I want in, tell me, how is it all put together?
Well, Jill, over to you.
Right, so I've arranged a course for Monday the 17th of February, which will be at Phoenix at Louise and Michelle's place. So it will run from 9:15 through till 5:30. It is a full day of training. We just have a break for a tea in the morning and the afternoon, and probably half an hour lunch. The rest of the time we work you right the way through.
And I should say, Jill, that that's in Chelmsford in Essex, because lots of people watching this will be all over the country.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And we are very accessible through lots of different forms of transport.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, so it will be at is it Warner's Farm?
Yeah, plenty of
Chelmsford
parking
in Essex. Yeah, there's lots of parking. It's a beautiful venue. I've been there before, done a few training courses. It's great place to be. Lovely. You can get there quite easily from quite a few of the motorways around, so it would be really good. So the course is usually 175 for the full day. You will get pre-course reading sent out to you once you enroll, and I would say you need to allow about 4 hours to cover that, and that goes through our health and safety and our sanitation methods. It will touch on our contraindications as well.
And what temperature does to the body.
Yeah, what temperature does to the body. So it's really good to read that before coming on the course, so that when we're actually on the day, we can answer all your questions. Although I'll go over it again, it's something that's quite good to sit and listen. And then when I actually show you how to do it, it all kind of ticks into place. But because of today and Louise inviting us on, we're offering a £25 discount on that. So if you use the code Phoenix, we will offer you the £25 off, making it £150.
We haven't set that up yet, though.
I haven't set it up because I literally got the dates secured with Louise last night. So I've just got to put that on the platform. But if anybody's interested, they just need to email me and I can get you set up on the course. And
in the same instance, I haven't worked it out yet, but I will do a discount on the set of stones as well. So
so how much would the set of stones?
Oh, God, throw me now.
Sorry.
I tell you what, if when
we'll
you
put it all together
out, if you let me know, then I will put it into the notes so that when this goes out, whenever it goes out, whenever people are watching it, maybe over Christmas or New Year, then they'll have that information.
Yes, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah,
yeah. I think the set of stones is about 175, and for our November Black Black Friday November deal, I did a 20% discount off of that, which I'm quite happy to do for that well. So that would bring it down to about 100 and that'd be £35, won't it? Yeah, so about £140. Yeah.
Very generous. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And when you think, like, if you're charging £50 a treatment, perhaps, you'll get that back within less than the stones you'll get back within less than 3 treatments. The course back within less than 3 treatments. So yeah.
Yeah. So any questions?
But buying stones comes with a health warning.
They're addictive.
Because it is incredibly addictive.
I know every time I watch your Facebook post with your advent, I'm thinking, oh, I want that.
Oh yeah. Actually, if anybody wants to join that, we have a Love Stone Therapy page. We're also got a LaStone Facebook page as well where it's on. But for December, every day I'm doing a different stone and delving into its uses within LaStone Therapy, yeah, so ranging from basalt all the way through, and we end up with a really, really pretty one on Christmas Day. Laurie, do you think anybody would want any questions? We're
I
quite
haven't
happy.
seen any in the chat at all, but everybody's got their microphone muted at the moment. So just really want to say to anybody that's on the call, if you've got any questions that you would like to ask, then now is your time. But I'm going to turn the recording off so that if anybody wants to come on and ask the question live, they can.
Right, this is a J sphere. So what would you do with a J sphere in a feet? Well, actually, what we do with that is we roll it around the digestive system on the foot. Yeah. And obviously that can be used hot or cold, depending on what you need to use. And you could do that yourself at home quite easily. Yeah.
It's a bit of a play day as well for therapists to get some extra kind of skills for themselves as well.
Yeah. I think it's nice actually for therapists to get together, and I think when therapists do get together and they are learning something that is relevant to what they're doing, it sparks a new enthusiasm in their treatments and what they do. It's sort of and a lot of therapists work on their own, and you know they're lonesome, and getting together and finding out that other people have the same problems as they do, you know, and oh yeah, that's happened to me and whatever. And it's just a nice way of actually networking and getting together again with therapists.
Very valuable.
Another question, quickly. In the package of the 140 for the set of stones, are they just the basalt ones, or are they?
No, this is just the jade ones, the ones that we showed you. Hold on a minute.
Brilliant. Okay.
Right, it's those ones. Yeah.
All of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. That's great.
Yeah.
It's not the crystals, is it?
No, it's not the crystals. It's all the basalt on it. Put it down.
Thank
Right.
you.
Can you see that? That is the set.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's what I need.
So everything that you use on the feet will be included in that set. We don't include things like basalt, belly stones and hand stones because some people have already got those. So then that's something people can buy if they choose to. So yeah. Lots of people already have crystals, but we have, you know, we've just found these. Found these about. Can you see these?
Go like that.
Little square ones.
Yeah.
And they sit really nicely on the body.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, got a really nice feel to them. Yeah.
They're the ones that we use for our chakrology, I think, aren't they, Michelle?
Are they?
Are they?
So,
Yeah.
because they sit
well.
Yeah.
It's nice. They're nice. They're nice. They've got a nice energy about them as well. You know, I mean, I do tend to think that we cannot guarantee the origins of where the stone comes from, how it's produced. People that say that they can, I think, are being hoodwinked. They can't. But what we can do is when we've got them, we can give them back the love and respect that they deserve. And then we find that they work really nicely for us.
Mm.
Mm.